What's up, everyone? All right, so I'm wearing blue today. In fact, I'm feeling a little blue. Worst day of the week. Well, Friday, kind of the end of the week. Not surprising that we don't have as much momentum. You know, it's what company is going to put out great news on a Friday going into the weekend? In fact, Friday is typically when a company would be more likely to put out bad news, hoping investors forget about it. And then by Monday morning, it's water under the bridge. So it's not surprising that we had a lack of news today, but last Friday, we had a wild card stock. I sometimes call Fridays a wild card day. And what I mean is that typically we don't expect much, but since everyone's usually for the most part comes in every day anyways, I mean, day traders don't take days off. So, we come in. If there's a stock that starts to move, everyone jumps on it because it's the only thing there is to trade. And last week, that was AREB, remember? It went from $6 a share all the way up to over $20 a share. So Friday, last week, was a phenomenal day. This Friday, AREB, or AERB, tried again, but I didn't fall for it because I really didn't think it was going to work. Then we had a lower price stock, MMA, that went from 90 cents all the way up to $2.88. I got a little profit on that, but it was cheaper, it stalled out, and now has pulled back quite a bit. So it felt like today we didn't have the one, but I still managed to find myself a little bit of profit, and I'm walking away today in the green, $11,124.34. I don't have to be that blue. Take the hat off. This is a good day. Green is good. And in fact, it's been a terrific week, right? We take a step back and we look at the performance on the week, and 5 green days in a row, right? Green every day this week. I didn't import yesterday's trades yet, but yesterday was a decent green day and right around $21,000. So this is where I was sitting on the week before yesterday and today. So add another 30 grand and we're sitting at $163,000 on the week. Fantastic. $200,000 here now on the month. All right. So now it's a $400,000 monthly goal. Still realistic for April. 100,000 a week average. Well, I think so. I think so. We'll see if it can be done. So these are the 4 stocks I trade today: NAOV, MSPR, MMA, and JNVR. We'll start with the first trade I took, which was NAOV. NAOV is kind of funny because this morning, when I first sat down, I was thinking about, all right, what are we going to have for continuation? Oh, I keep forgetting the name of this one. Gosh, it drives me nuts. Nero, is it? No, Vero, V-E-R-O. All right, so V-E-R-O. This one, so here's the story with V-E-R-O. A couple days ago, it has a huge move, goes up like, 1,000%. Then it sells off and boom, the company does a secondary offering. So the stock drops, goes sideways, and then yesterday after hours pops up. This morning pops up a little bit and tried again. And so some traders were saying this morning, right around this area, all right, this one's the one. And I was like, I don't know, guys. This offering, it dropped too much. I don't think this is the one. In fact, let's take a look at the daily chart. The daily chart's pretty horrible. It's a red day here. So it squeezed up, it sold off, and then a red day here, which was yesterday, and now we've got the 200 moving average right here. I don't think it's going to work. So I didn't take any trades on it. But some people were like, well, what about AERB from last week? And I said, yeah, AREB is the ticker, first of all, get it straight. And I said, well, yeah, but that was different because that had a big green candle and then a day of rest. And then Friday, it takes off again. So it's a very different daily chart. It looks different, significantly different. So AREB pulled back, on Thursday. So I had the big day on Wednesday, pulled back Thursday, but they didn't do an offering. It didn't die. And then Friday, it takes off, right? So then I said, well, what else was strong this week? NAOV. And in fact, I thought NAOV looks a little more similar to AREB, a little more similar. And I said, it's on watch for continuation. And then sure enough, we ended up having news that came out right here at 8 a.m. And it squeezes on news at 8 a.m. Now, the news was that they've regained compliance. This is not the juiciest headline. I'm usually kind of like, I don't know about this. And even though I had it on watch before that news came out, it was on a side chart. So I didn't really, I just thought, we'll see. And then it pops up and I was like, oh my gosh, shoot. And it's moved real fast. So I tried to buy it. And this was at 8 a.m. and 52 seconds. So let's see, where was that order? So 8 a.m., 52 seconds. So must have been like right around here, right around here, right at 7. I tried to buy. I got no fill on my order. That's annoying. Goes all the way up to 850. I didn't want to chase it, so I waited for a pullback. It pulls back right here, and it ends up, as you can see, just sort of unwinding. So here was the first trade that I ended up taking on it. It was at 802. So 802 right here, I bought this dip. We got a little dip down there. I got a little dip and a little pop. Now, it dipped down to it was like, what was it? The low of this candle here, 790, and bounced up to 870. It's $1 a share, practically, 80 cents a share. So that was enough to make a couple $1,000. Then it pulls back again, and I did another dip down here off of 7, right? Well, it's like 725. That bounced back up to 8. So I got another couple $1,000 there, and then it just starts to unwind more, and I was like, all right, I guess this is not going to work. So ended up making $4,300 on a couple of trades on it. Again, it breaks the ice. It gets me green on the day, but it's nothing huge. So these were basically pullbacks on a 10-second and then dips. And at this point, when it was dipping, I was thinking maybe we were going to get a first 1-minute candle to make a new high, which we did, but then it rejected. Then the bounce off 7, but then it was just like, nope, this thing is not holding up. So some of you guys actually did a lot better on this than I did, and I was, so good for you. You jumped on it faster. I just fumbled my order on the first trade. So that was NAOV. Then, of course, we had, let's see. So there was the trades on NAOV, and then the next stock I traded was MSPR. So that was 8 a.m. right there. And then I'm sitting here, no trades, until I took another trade right here at 9:15. That was my second trade of the day, or the second stock I traded. So why did I trade it kind of coming into the open? So here's what I kind of noticed on this. Actually, it was actually right here. So let's see. Let me just check my orders here on this. No, it was at 9:15. So here's what I was looking at. This was our leading percentage gainer on the day. But when I sat down at about 7 a.m., it had popped and just started to pull back. So I was like, nah, I don't know. It's got this descending resistance line. So it pulled back, eventually came back up, got above it right here. And then I thought, all right, if this thing is the leading percentage gainer in the entire market, if it can hold this level, we might have something to work with. So it started to curl back up here. I was looking for the breakthrough 340. And I thought if it breaks 340, I'm looking for it to break over 350. If it could break and hold over 350, we're looking for a break of about 360. And if we break 360, I'm looking for a squeeze back up towards 4. That was what I was thinking. So I jumped in this as it started to pop up here. It popped up first to about 29. And I'll show you on the 10-second chart the pattern that I was looking at. So right here, it popped up. So all of a sudden there was sort of a little surge of volume right here and it popped up. And so right there, I was like, all right, here we go. This is where I'm going to jump in. So I jumped in there at 30. I then added at 40 and we ended up getting a pop on this all the way up to a high there for a second of 52 and 60. I was like, this looks good. And then immediately it reversed. And I was like, gosh darn it. So I added at 30, added at 40, added at 50. It drops for a second. I'm like, okay, back to break even. Goes up to 60. I'm like, great. Comes right back down and I sold. So when it broke 50 and then came back down the second time, I was like, nope, I got out. So I got some profit on that one. Then it pulls back. I didn't take any more trades on it. At that point, I was like, no, I don't think it's working. So those two trades put me up about 8,300 on the day. And then the next trade was JNVR. So JNVR, this one made a big move yesterday. And, it's a little more expensive. So I traded outside my price range, but on a stock that has clearly been making some big moves. And so the way I traded this one was also a micro pullback. I bought for the break of 60. So it popped up basically right here to 60, dipped for a second. I got in for the break of 60, ends up hitting a high of $63 a share. And I trade with small size. So I only made 800 bucks. So it was a small winner on that. Ends up pulling back, not able to break through the new high. I wouldn't count it out yet. Yesterday you had a bigger move later in the sort of morning. So I think it's possible that could happen again. But if it pulls back for a couple days, that's all right too. The reality is on this one, I was thinking if it worked, maybe I could get $5 or $10 a share with small size. But this is a little outside my wheelhouse. The price is a little higher. I wouldn't have taken the risk if I was flat on the day, but because I had a cushion, I was willing to take a little bit of risk. All right, so I took a little bit of risk on that one, but not a lot realistically. Made $800, was not really risking more than 500. Was doing 250 share blocks when I was adding. So 250 starter, then 500 to double. And then MMA was the last stock I traded, and this is the one that went up 200 and, well, it's up 120% now, but it was up over 200%, 230% earlier. So kind of out of nowhere, squeezes and halts up once, halts up a second time, then grinds up here to 250. So on that move up to 250, that's when I ended up taking my first trade on it. So it ends up popping up here, dipping, popping up, dipping. It dips down here, it bounces. That bottoming tail is bullish. So when it dips down a second time and doesn't go back to that level, I bought that dip right there, 20,000 shares, and it springs up to 280. I was thinking maybe it would go into another halt, but it didn't. Then I got out and it sort of dips down. I almost got back in for the break back over 280, but I held off. At that point, the 5-minute candle closed red, and I was like, higher volume red candle. The 1 minute was consolidating, and I was like, now it's so extended, I'm worried about if it does break, a jackknife, and I don't want to have that happen. So that was my last trade of the day, $1,800, and that put me up $11,124.34. Not bad. Now, you may note that a number of my trades today were micro pullbacks. So I'll put the link for the micro pullback strategy PDF for you guys to download. I think you will enjoy it. I think it'll help you in your trading. If you're wanting to trade these types of fast moving stocks, micro pullbacks are a great way to get in. I utilize them pretty much every day in my trading. I see the micro pullback forming on the 10-second chart, but I also can visualize it right on the level 2. And actually something I would challenge you to do is to use level 2. Just as a practice, just see if you could do this. Use level 2 and don't look at the chart. Just start to visualize after watching the level 2 for 10 minutes what the chart looks like. Because if you can do that, then as it's moving, it's almost printing the chart in your mind of what's happening. And that's where you can see these quick micro pullbacks before the next leg back up. So that's what we ended up getting on pretty much all of these trades today. Nice micro pullbacks, riding momentum. And although it wasn't a grand slam, home run kind of day, these base hits add up. So now I'm sitting, like I said, $200,000 on the month. I'm in pretty good shape. So here's what I'll say. For those of you guys that are new, I hope you guys hit the thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to the channel. Feel free to download my micro pullback strategy PDF. I think you will enjoy it. And I'll remind you, as always, trading's risky. My results aren't typical. So please manage your risk, take it slow. I will put a link to a couple episodes here and here and here that I think you guys will enjoy. So you're welcome to check those out. And we've got some more uploads coming over the weekend. So make sure you stay tuned. Thanks as always for tuning in. I'll see you guys back here Monday morning live streaming at Warrior Trading.